This video is prepared for class 11th informatics practices students. In this video, we are going to learn about expressions, comments, input-output statements, and data type conversion in Python. Students, we first talk about expressions. When we write programs, we need to write statements, and in these statements, we write basically expressions. An expression is defined as a combination of constants, variables, and operators. Some example of expressions are given here. See over here, num minus 20.4 is an expression. Here num is a variable, minus is an operator, and 20.4 is constant, or you can say it is value. So this is an example of expression. Similarly, in next example, you can see 3.0 plus 3.14 is also an expression, and this one is another example of expression. In the fourth point, you can see we have taken two strings, global and citizen, and there is a plus operator between them. Here plus operator is considered as concatenation operator, and this is also an example of expression. Students, this is interactive mode of Python. Ideally, if I take a variable x and assign a value 4 in it, and another variable y and assign a value 5 in it, and now I want to print the sum of x and y, then I can write print x plus y. So these three statements, x assigned 4, y assigned 5, and print x plus y, these all three statements can be considered as expressions. Next point to learn is comments in the Python programs. Students, when we write Python programs, sometimes we write complicated statements or code, and to understand the code in a better way, we can write some notes or remarks in our programs, and these notes and remarks are called comments. Comments can be written using hash sign. After hash sign, we can write our remark, and this written remark, or you can say the comments, are not executed by the interpreter. We can say comments are not the part of the program. How comments are written? It can be understood in the Python. Ideally, suppose there is a variable x and it has value 5, and another variable y and it has value 6, and I write a statement print x plus y, and now I want to add a comment in it, then I can write hash this is a print statement. In this way we can write comments in our programs, and comments can be written in interactive mode as well as in script mode, and when we execute the statement, then this statement does not affect our written code. So it is very simple to write comments in our programs. Students, we cannot imagine any Python program without input and output. The basic concept of programming is that we provide some input to the program processes these provided inputs and produces output. So it is very important to understand input-output statements in Python. For input, we use input function, and this function accepts all type of user inputs. The syntax for input function is very simple. See over here, we define a variable, and we can assign the input value using input function in it. To understand the input function in a better way, we have a practical look in Python ideally. Suppose I want to get a number from the user. Then we can define a variable. I define a variable num here, and I want to get a number from the user in this variable. So we can use input function here, input, and also we can prompt a message to the user like enter a number. This message will be displayed on the screen on execution of this statement. Now suppose user inputs the number as 5, then the 5 will get stored in the variable num. In this way we can get any user input using the input function. Any type of input can be taken from the user. It may be integer, it may be floating value, or it may be any string. One thing about the input function is must be remembered that the input function always takes input in a string format. Suppose I want to get a number from the user using input function, then this number will be stored in the variable in string format, and I want to use this number in mathematical calculations, or I want to use this number as an integer number, then I need to convert the string, the number which is in the string format into integer format. To convert this number from string to integer, we have integer function, and we can use integer function with input statement. Let's have a practical look on this concept. Suppose I want to get a number from the user, then the statement can be written as input enter a number, and this statement will prompt a message to the user enter a number, and suppose user enters 5, then the 5 will get stored in the variable num. We can check type of any variable using type function. If I check the type of num, then we find that it is in a string format. But in the mathematical calculations, string number in the string format cannot be used, so we need to convert numbers in integer or floating format. Suppose we want to convert this string format number into integer format, then we can use int function. For using int function, we can write this statement again like input enter a number. This statement is same as previous statement, and this statement is storing the value in string format, and if we want to convert this input value into integer, then we can use int function like this. Now if user enters value 5, then the 5 will stored in the variable num as an integer number, and we can check it using type function. Now type of num is integer. In this way we can convert the string value into integer value. For printing the output on the screen, we use print function in Python, and the syntax of print function is very simple. Simply we write print, and in the parenthesis we write the value to be printed. One more thing about print statement is that we can evaluate simple expressions within the print statement. Practically we can see the use of print statement over here. Here we have stored an integer value 5 in the variable num, and if we want to print the value of num, then we can write print, and if I write variable here, then the print function will output the value on the screen. We can print statements as it is using print function also. Suppose I want to print any statement, welcome to the computer science class. This statement will get printed as it is on the screen. When we want to print the values of variable, then we write variable in the parenthesis. Otherwise, if we want to any statement to be printed as it is on the screen, then we write in this way. The next important concept is data type conversion. Sometimes we need to convert between types. One example of conversion of data type from string to integer we have seen while we were learning about the input function. Students, there are two types of type conversion. First of them is implicit type conversion, and the other one is explicit type conversion. Implicit type conversion is considered as automatic type conversion by Python interpreter, and in case of explicit type conversion, we need to manually convert from one type to other type. We can have a practical look on this concept. To understand the data type conversion in a better way, we take a variable x and we assign a value 5 to it. As you know, we can check the data type of x using type function. On checking data type of x, we find that it is of integer type. Now I assign a value 4.5, which is a floating value, to the same variable x. Then see what happens. If I check the type of variable x, then we find that now it is in floating type. So we can say the Python interpreter automatically converts the data type of a variable as per the value assigned to it. This type of conversion is known as automatic type conversion or implicit type conversion. Sometimes we need to convert the data type of a variable into another type. Suppose here x is float type, and now we want to convert it into in a string type. Then we can write x str x. We are converting the data type of x in string format using str function and assigning this value to again the variable x. Now see what happens. On checking the type of x, we find that now it is string type. In this case, we have converted the floating type of variable x into string type manually. This type of conversion is known as explicit type conversion. Students, practice these all concepts at your own at home. Use hit and trial method to understand about comments, expressions, data type conversion, inputs and outputs.